Ever wondered how power shapes our world? Well, get ready to uncover the secrets with us. In The 48 Laws of Power, Robert Greene takes us on a journey through history, distilling centuries of wisdom into 48 laws. Join us for a free summary where we'll break down each law so you can navigate life with confidence. Make sure to watch till the end for the full scoop. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and give us a thumbs up if you find the content helpful. Let's get started. Law number 1, never outshine the master. So, this law is all about not stealing the spotlight from your boss. Simply put, make your boss feel important without overdoing it with compliments that might make them feel insecure. For example, there's a story about Nicolas Fouquet, who made the mistake of throwing a huge party that everyone talked about, upsetting the king. Instead of pleasing the king, Fouquet ended up getting arrested and imprisoned for life. To avoid a similar fate, here are 2 tips to keep your boss happy and you out of trouble. First, if naturally superior, adapt around insecure bosses. Second, even if favored, don't overreach. Crafty flattery works. Play naive, ask for advice, and credit their ideas. Galileo mastered this in the 1600s, glorifying the Medici family alongside his discoveries. Exceptions. If your superior is a fading star, don't be afraid to outshine them. If they are weak, cleverly hasten their downfall. And if they are strong, but you know better, patiently wait for power shifts. Law number 2. Never put too much trust in friends. Learn how to use enemies. This law is all about being careful with your friends and understanding the value of having enemies. Sometimes, even friends can feel jealous or dishonest, which can make it hard to trust them. It's better to choose people to work with based on their skills rather than just because they're your friends. Being too kind to your friends might make them resentful. On the other hand, having enemies can actually be useful if you can get them on your side or if they keep you on your toes and improve your reputation. Famous people like Talleyrand, Kissinger, and Emperor Sung were really good at using their enemies to help them achieve their goals. However, there are times when having friends around can be helpful, like when they can take risks for you or act as a scapegoat. So, the key is to find a balance between recognizing the potential of your enemies and appreciating the unique contributions your friends can make. Law number 3. Hide what you're up to by keeping others uncertain and off balance. So, this law is about limiting others' ability to stop your plans. People often trust what they see, which makes it easy to trick them. Things like pretending to be sincere, faking a change of heart, or doing something noble can distract them effectively. It's also helpful to use things like smoke screens or familiar appearances to make others feel comfortable while you catch them off guard. Historical figures like Otto von Bismarck and Jay Gould use these tactics really well. However, there are times when this doesn't work, like when someone already knows you're a liar or when the situation calls for something different. Law number 4. Say as little as possible. According to Greene, it's important to talk less and use words that are vague and mysterious to keep others guessing. Silence can make people feel uneasy, causing them to reveal more about themselves. Short comments can attract a lot of attention, making you seem important and mysterious. Andy Warhol showed this by letting his art do the talking. King Louis XIV was also good at staying silent, which made his courtiers nervous with his mysterious answers. On the other hand, someone like Coriolanus talked too much about himself and lost an election because of it. However, there are times when staying silent isn't the best option, like when you're trying to avoid suspicion, pretending to be foolish, or using words to distract others. In the world of power, sometimes saying less can actually mean more. Law number 5. Guard your reputation. Your appearance and the qualities people associate with you are really important for your reputation. You should work on having a memorable trait that makes you stand out and gives you an aura of power. A good reputation can influence how people see your actions and affect the results you get. It's important to defend your reputation from attacks, but try not to appear too defensive. Sometimes it can even be useful to attack others' reputations, especially if they're more powerful than you. You can subtly undermine your opponents by making fun of them. The story of General Liang shows just how powerful reputation can be. When you don't have a strong reputation yourself, you can tarnish your opponent's reputations to build up your own. Law number 6, attract attention. This law highlights how crucial it is to stand out and grab people's attention. Greene suggests being a bit scandalous to get both positive and negative attention, using any means necessary to do so. It's important to associate yourself with unique traits, even if they're controversial. Historical figures like P.T. Barnum and Thomas Edison did this really well. Greene also advises cultivating a sense of mystery because people are naturally drawn to mysterious individuals. You can do this by being silent at times, being inconsistent, or acting a bit eccentric. This can make others admire and even feel intimidated by you. People like Mata Hari and Mao Zedong are great examples of this approach. However, it's important to find a balance and not seem too desperate for attention. Knowing when to step back is key. Law number 7, get others to do the work for you. To gain power, it's important to use other people's efforts to your advantage while making sure you get the recognition. There are 2 main ways to do this. Either wait for others to finish tasks and then take the credit, or actively involve others and claim their achievements as your own. Historical examples show both methods, like Francisco Pizarro betraying Balboa and artist Peter Paul Rubens having a team of painters who he took credit for. When you take credit for work done by a group, it makes you look capable. A famous example of this is how Thomas Edison treated Nikola Tesla. However, it's important to be careful because being too greedy for credit can backfire, especially if it makes you seem like you're overshadowing your superiors. Henry Kissinger is a good example of someone who was skilled at sharing credit in a strategic way. Law number 8, bait your enemy. This law suggests that instead of directly attacking your enemies, you can bait them into coming to you, which gives you more control over the situation. By strategically setting traps, you can force your opponents to react, draining their energy and keeping the upper hand. Tactics like emotional manipulation, enticing your foes into your territory, and exploiting their greed can make this strategy even more effective. For example, Talleyrand baited Napoleon back to France, which ultimately led to Napoleon's downfall. However, surprise attacks can also throw off your opponent's responses. It's important to choose your tactics based on the circumstances, luring your opponents to weaken them or launching swift attacks against those who are easily swayed. Law number 9, win through your actions, not through argument. Arguing often doesn't change people's minds and can even make them angry, so it's better to use demonstrations to get your point across. Showing visual evidence is really effective because it removes any misunderstandings. For example, Michelangelo changed the mayor's mind about the nose on his sculpture David by showing him how perfect it was, instead of arguing about it. However, if you're caught lying, arguing can distract from the deception. Count Victor Lustig did this by loudly defending his scams. Law number 10, infection. Avoid the unhappy and unlucky. Misery carriers spread negativity like a plague, infecting those around them. It's important to watch out for signs like constant unhappiness, troubled past, and charismatic personalities that can cloud judgment. On the other hand, happy individuals bring positivity and improve the well-being of others. Even someone as conniving as Napoleon benefited from Talleyrand's charm. Lola Montez, on the other hand, shows the dangers of being around misery carriers, as she brought destruction to the lives of those she encountered. It's best to surround yourself with people who have qualities you admire and avoid negativity to promote your own growth and success. Law number 11, be needed. When you become indispensable, you gain freedom and control over your own life. Power doesn't come from being alone, but from building relationships where others depend on you, giving you influence and independence. You can become indispensable by developing unique skills or knowledge, getting involved in many different areas, or having valuable secrets. Otto von Bismarck used this strategy by making Prussian kings rely on him, which helped him secure his position of power. However, it's important to avoid being completely independent if you want your power to last. Law number 12. Disarm others by being nice. Being honest and generous can sometimes distract and disarm people, making it easier for you to carry out your plans without raising suspicion. This approach plays on people's emotions, similar to how a child's eager gratitude can affect adults. For example, the con artist Victor Lustig successfully swindled Al Capone by being selectively honest, which surprised and distracted him. However, it's important to use this strategy authentically to avoid breaking trust. Law number 13, show others what's in it for them. Greene also highlights the importance of appealing to the self-interest of individuals in positions of power when you need their help. Instead of just talking about what you want, show them how fulfilling your request benefits them personally. Historical examples like the Portuguese missionaries versus Dutch traders show how this principle works. Similarly, when making appeals, it's important to be guided by pragmatic self-interest, as seen in the Corsair-Athens alliance. However, there are exceptions for those who enjoy acting altruistically for their self-image. Law number 14, pose as a friend, work as a spy. True power often comes from gathering information through spying. While using spies can be helpful, it's also risky. However, pretending to be a friend while secretly gathering information yourself is even more effective. Pay close attention, especially at social gatherings, and subtly gather secrets without anyone suspecting. You can also set traps by sharing false information and watching how others react. This knowledge gives you the power to predict people's actions, as shown by historical figures like Talleyrand and art dealer Joseph Devine. But be careful of others spying on you in return, and sometimes it's necessary to deceive others to gain the upper hand. Law number 15, annihilate your enemy. Leaving even a small bit of opposition can lead to revenge later on. Historical leaders who showed mercy often faced resentment and the eventual return of enemies. To guarantee security, it's important to completely remove their ability to fight back. This doesn't always mean killing them. Banishment has worked in the past. Empress Wu is a good example of someone who followed this rule, crushing her rivals ruthlessly to stay in power. Sometimes, letting your opponents destroy themselves might be effective, but being too lenient can backfire. Law number 16, don't wear out your welcome. Continuously being in the spotlight can diminish your influence over time, but strategic withdrawal can revive respect and admiration. This principle applies to various aspects of life, including relationships, economics, and fame. For example, Joseph Devine increased the value of art by making pieces scarce, knowing when to step back strategically. Similarly, actress Greta Garbo maintained respect by retiring from her career at its peak. Ancient ruler Woice earned reverence by periodically isolating himself from public view. However, it's important to note that this tactic works best when you've already earned respect beforehand. Law number 17, be unpredictable. People generally prefer predictability, which makes unpredictability a powerful tool. Actions that are unexpected can create fear, confusion, and respect, keeping your adversaries off balance. For example, In 1972, chess legend Bobby Fischer bewildered Boris Spassky by using unpredictability to win their match. However, sometimes being predictably unpredictable can also be used as a way to deceive others. But it's important to be cautious with this approach. In some cases, it can lead to distrust and negative outcomes. So, it's crucial to know when to deploy unpredictability for the greatest impact. Law number 18. Don't isolate yourself. Cutting off information and contacts can leave you vulnerable and unaware of potential threats. Instead, it's important to stay connected and outgoing in order to gather crucial information, build alliances, and maintain power. Whether in military strategy or personal life, isolation often leads to failure. For example, French Minister Talleyrand succeeded by staying connected, even with unsavory characters, while historical figures like Louis XIV maintained dominance by staying involved in the center of activity. While isolation can sometimes provide perspective, it's generally advised to only isolate yourself temporarily to avoid its pitfalls. Law number 19. Know your victim. Different types of people react differently to deception, so it's important to be careful who you deal with. Avoid wasting time or provoking retaliation by understanding the personalities of those you interact with. This includes being aware of people who are oversensitive, insecure, overly suspicious, cold and calculating, or slow-witted or literal. Failing to understand your target's personality can result in wasted efforts or even trouble. Before engaging with someone, take the time to research and assess them, as appearances can be misleading. Historical examples like Genghis Khan, Henry Ford, and a Texas rancher show the consequences of misunderstanding opponents' personalities. There are no exceptions to the importance of understanding individuals before engaging with them. Law number 20. Don't take sides. Maintaining independence and not aligning with any side or cause except for oneself can be advantageous. By remaining uncommitted, you gain respect and attention from both sides as they compete for your support. Henry Kissinger's example shows how playing one side against another can benefit you personally. Similarly, Queen Elizabeth I retained her power by refusing marriage, avoiding conflicts, and securing peace. This strategy allows you to maintain control and leverage your position for personal gain. Law number 21. Make others feel smarter. By appearing naive or less intelligent, you can disarm suspicion and encourage others to drop their guard. Bismarck used this tactic to manipulate Count Bismarck into signing a treaty that favored Prussia. Similarly, San Francisco con artists successfully swindled wealthy New York business people by pretending to be clueless individuals who stumbled upon a diamond mine. This strategy can help you advance by downplaying your abilities and making others feel good about themselves. However, it's important to use it cautiously and avoid overdoing it to prevent becoming seen as a threat. Exceptions to this rule include situations at the beginning of your career or when using your intelligence and authority to cover up deception. Law number 22. Surrender to win. When facing a stronger opponent, surrendering instead of fighting for honor can give you time to regroup and undermine your victor's power. Surrendering confuses your opponent, allowing you to build strength and plan revenge while appearing compliant on the surface. This tactic requires self-control and patience to wait for the right moment to strike back. By surrendering, you position yourself for future success when power dynamics inevitably shift. Examples include the story of King 𝐞𝐨𝐬 in ancient China and Bertolt Brecht dealing with the House Un-American Activities Committee. While some situations might call for martyrdom, this law suggests that survival and future opportunities are more important than immediate honor. Law number 23. Focus your efforts. The law advises that in the pursuit of power, it's essential to identify your main goal and concentrate your resources and efforts on achieving it. This principle can be applied to different aspects of life, such as building alliances, reaching personal goals, and maintaining influence in organizations. Examples include Casanova's successful escape from prison, the achievements of the Rothschild banking family, and the downfall of empires that expanded too broadly. While focus and concentration often lead to success, there are situations where it might be dangerous or too risky, especially when dealing with stronger opponents or relying solely on one ally. Law number 24, play by the rules. This law highlights the importance of understanding the rules of the game to become powerful. Historical figures succeeded by manipulating within the boundaries of accepted behavior. Some guidelines include not boasting, using subtle compliments, adapting to different situations, and keeping emotions in check. Examples show how indirect warnings to emperors and the humble attitude of Louis XIV's architects led to success. On the other hand, failures like Callisthenes' straightforwardness with Alexander the Great and Brummel's joking with a prince show the risks of being too blunt. It's crucial to avoid getting caught while using these strategies, as Talleyrand discovered with Napoleon. Law number 25, reinvent yourself. This law says that people can control how others see them by acting differently in different situations. It's about being aware of yourself and creating a unique image with a compelling story. Historical figures like Julius Caesar, who used dramatic tactics, and George Sand, who changed their name to change their image, show how well this works. This rule applies to everyone, but it's important to do it skillfully to succeed. Law number 26, don't dirty your hands. This law says you should always blame someone else for your mistakes and use other people to do things you don't want to be associated with. It's important to hide your errors to protect your reputation because saying sorry or giving excuses can make things worse. Historical examples include Mao blaming his associates and FDR using other people to do secret actions. Influential people do this to protect themselves and achieve their goals without getting too involved. There aren't many exceptions to this rule, but sometimes it's strategic to admit fault or use intimidation tactics instead. Law number 27, create a cult. This law explains how to build and control a loyal group of followers to gain power. It involves offering an appealing but unclear goal, similar to religious beliefs, to inspire people to support a charismatic leader. Historical examples like Franz Mesmer's mesmerism show how creating a spectacle, using hierarchy, and inventing enemies can create a cult-like following. While this can be effective, there's a risk of backlash if people find out they've been deceived. Law number 28, act boldly. Being bold hides weaknesses, scares opponents, and convinces others to follow. Hesitation causes doubts and problems. Many people are afraid to be bold because they want approval, but being bold, like Napoleon, gives you power. However, it's important to be bold in a controlled way to avoid going too far and causing problems. Historical examples like Pietro Aretino's daring writing show how smart boldness can lead to success, while reckless boldness can cause trouble. Law number 29, plan the ending. Greene suggests always preparing for possible problems, avoiding making things up as you go, and staying focused on your specific, strong goal. Otto von Bismarck's approach of uniting Germany shows this idea well. By planning ahead and not getting sidetracked, he reached his goal while keeping the country united and safe. There are a few exceptions. It's important to have a flexible plan to deal with unexpected changes, but having a clear goal and a plan for the future are key to succeeding. Law number 30, make it seem easy. By hiding the effort you put into your achievements, you make others admire and look forward to what you do. True skill is in making hard things look easy, like talented performers and artists do. Don't show how much work you put in, as it takes away the magic and makes people disrespect you. Talleyrand's relaxed manner and Houdini's hidden preparation show how to use the illusion of ease to gain power. Sometimes, it's okay to reveal your effort if you plan it carefully, but don't be too secretive, or people might think you're paranoid. Law number 31. Set up a phony choice. In this law, Greene explains how to create the appearance of a meaningful choice while secretly controlling the options to suit your own agenda. By limiting the options available, you make it seem like people have a choice without overwhelming them. Techniques include steering choices in your favor, advocating for the opposite option, changing the rules, reducing options gradually, highlighting risks, and presenting two unfavorable alternatives. Ivan the Terrible's manipulation of the Russian people to willingly give him absolute power shows how this works. There might be exceptions when you're studying your opponent's strategies. Law number 32. Fulfill others' fantasies. People are often attracted to appealing fantasies that promise instant change, adventure, peace, harmony, or even resurrection. By presenting these fantasies at the right time, you can gain followers, wealth, and power. For example, Bragadino's promise to multiply gold shows how this law can work. However, it's important to be cautious because people can become disappointed if they realize they've been tricked. Keeping your stories vague and avoiding making specific promises can help reduce the risks. Law number 33. Use others' weaknesses. Everyone has weaknesses like insecurities, emotions, or hidden desires. Identifying and using these weaknesses gives you power over them. Disguised weaknesses are especially useful in conversations. You can spot them through body language and subtle signs. Taking advantage of emotional gaps like insecurity helps you control situations. Manipulating strong emotions such as greed or fear also gives you power. Historical examples like art dealer Duvane and French regent Catherine de' Medici show how exploiting weaknesses works. However, be careful because using strong emotions can lead to backlash. Law number 34. Act like royalty. To command respect and power, behave like royalty, radiating self-assurance as if destined for greatness, similar to the aura of a king. This confidence influences others, making it easier for your request to be granted. Set yourself apart by following regal customs and acting with dignity. Haile Selassie's ascent to power is an example of this regal demeanor. Use bold requests to show your worth, challenge influential individuals to elevate yourself, and give gifts to your superiors to establish equality. Columbus, by projecting aristocratic confidence, gained support for his explorations. Confidence invites respect, but be careful not to come across as arrogant or disrespectful. Law number 35. Get the timing right. Understand the rhythm of power. Align with emerging forces, anticipate reactions, and change alliances accordingly. Be patient and seize opportunities as they arise. Taking a long-term view provides strategic insight, allowing rivals to falter before you make a move. A systematic, adaptable, and less emotional approach is key. Force your opponent's hand, either slowing them down or speeding them up to disrupt their timing. Finally, act quickly and decisively when the timing is right. Joseph Fouché's skill in navigating changing leadership in France demonstrates the power of timing. Law number 36. Ignore small problems. Ignoring small problems shows power and superiority. Responding might make things worse, draw too much attention, or make minor opponents seem more important. Ignoring attention seekers frustrates them and keeps you in control. Paying attention to trivial matters can make things petty and give your opponents more power. Avoid making mistakes seem worse or making people feel sorry for you. By ignoring things when you don't get what you want, you seem uninterested. When under attack or when you make mistakes, act like you don't care or change the story. Sometimes, staying silent can make nuisances go away. President Wilson's mishandling of Pancho Villa shows the risk of making small problems seem big. But sometimes, it's okay to dismiss things carefully to avoid making people mad. Law number 37. Put on a show. Pictures and symbols have more effect than just words. Use strong images and symbols that make people feel something to show power. Connect with followers by using symbols that mean something to them, mixing old and new ideas. Make these things into a show that grabs attention and keeps it. For example, Diane de Poitiers kept King Henry II loyal by using powerful symbols and telling their story in a beautiful way. Law number 38. Go along to get along. Avoid openly showing unconventional beliefs or behaviors, as it can make people angry. Instead, fit in by hiding your different views and only sharing them with people who think the same. Acting like everyone else helps you get along with others, even if you don't agree with them inside. It's important to act like everyone else to avoid fights. Being able to act differently in different situations lets you control them and the people in them. Sometimes, blending in and pretending to agree with others helps you gain their trust and influence. During the Spanish Inquisition, Campanella saw how important it was to act like he agreed while still believing what he wanted to, showing how blending in can be powerful. But some people who are already powerful or want attention might not need to blend in. Law number 39. Rattle your opponent. Making your opponents angry on purpose can show that they are unstable or make them act foolishly. Use tactics like targeting their pride or vanity to make them feel unsure and use their reactions against them. Stay calm while your opponents struggle, showing that you are in control. Remember, Napoleon lost his power because he couldn't control his anger, but Haile Selassie used provoking others as a strategy to beat his enemies. Be careful when trying to make others angry and make sure you stay in control. Law number 40. Use money as a tool. Money is a strong tool for gaining power. You can use it to make alliances, create obligations, and build your reputation. When you get gifts for free, it can make you feel like you owe something in return, which can give someone power over you. Giving gifts can make you seem generous and make others trust you more, increasing your influence. But be careful of weaknesses related to money, like being too greedy, always looking for deals, being too aggressive, or being too generous. Spain's focus on gold and the Duchess of Marlborough's mistakes show how money can distract from building real power. Learn from Baron James Rothschild's strategy of using money to gain acceptance. Understand how valuable money is in gaining power and use it wisely. Law number 41. Chart your own course. People who come after great leaders or famous parents have a hard time living up to their legacy. To become powerful on their own, they need to make their own identity and way of doing things, even if it means saying bad things about the past to show the difference. Use symbols and rituals to show that you're different and make bold choices. Look for things that need fixing and do them your own way, and be ready to change when needed. Don't go back to the old ways and watch out for new rivals. Alexander the Great is an example of someone who did things differently from his father and succeeded. Law number 42. Squelch the Troublemaker. People who cause problems in groups can make things chaotic and threaten your power. Find them and keep them away to stop their influence from growing. Trouble often starts with people who complain a lot and get others to follow them. Separate them from their friends using politics, psychology, or force. Distract and trick them to get them away from the group. In ancient Athens, they kicked troublemakers out during big events to make things peaceful again. But be careful not to make enemies who might come back to get revenge. Instead, weaken their support while still keeping an eye on them. Remember, stopping trouble quickly is important to stay in control. Law number 43. Win hearts and minds. To keep power for a long time, it's important to make people like and agree with you. Using force might work at first, but it's better if people follow you because they want to. Understand how people feel and use that to your advantage. Make them feel strong emotions like love, hate, or jealousy. Surprise them or talk about things that make them scared or sad. Good ways to do this are by doing things that mean a lot to people, making them see how they benefit and getting lots of support. Don't ignore what people are worried about like Marie Antoinette did, or they might get mad and take your power away. Always focus on making people like you and getting them on your side to stay powerful for a long time. Law number 44, mirror others' emotions. Use the mirroring trick to influence and control people. By copying what your opponents do or feel, you can mix their plans and confuse them. Use this trick to charm, trick, and fool others. Instead of always leading conversations, copy how others feel, what they like, and what they think is important. This makes them feel like you understand them and makes them more likely to listen to you. Pay attention to how they act, what they do, and what they like so you can copy them well. But be careful not to copy too much, because being real is important for success. Still, don't get stuck always copying others if it doesn't help you reach your goals. Law number 45. Enact changes slowly. Change is important, but big changes all at once can make people scared and resistant. People like things to stay the same and feel familiar. Making changes slowly, while still keeping some old ways, makes it easier for people to accept. Show respect for old values in public and make new traditions that remind people of the past. Expect some people to be upset and be ready to deal with it. Mao Zedong did this by mixing communism with Chinese history, which helped him stay in charge. But sometimes, when things are stuck and people want change, you might need to be careful and expect people to be upset. Law number 46. Watch for envy. When you do well, other people might feel jealous because it makes them feel bad about themselves. Watch out for signs of jealousy, like when people criticize you a little, praise you too much, or try to secretly make you look bad, especially if they're close to you. To stop jealousy from causing problems, admit that you're not perfect, say you got lucky, or act like your success isn't a big deal. Be careful because jealousy can hurt you and cause big problems if you don't deal with it. Learn from examples like when artist J.M.W. Turner used less bright colors to stop other artists from being jealous, or when George Washington acted modest to make people like him more. If you're in charge, you can also deal with jealousy by being strong and standing up to it, like Sun Tzu did. Law number 47. In victory, learn when to stop. Once you've won, it might be tempting to keep going, but it can be dangerous. Stopping and making sure you keep what you've gained shows true strength. Winning brings risks because you might get too excited and want more, which can lead to problems. Be careful of people who want you to keep going too far. Success means being smart, knowing that luck played a part, and being ready to change when things do. Madame de Pompadour did this well by stopping after she won, making friends and changing her plans when needed. But sometimes it's okay to keep going if you've beaten your enemies completely, and you're not just doing it because you feel like you have to. Law number 48. Be elusive. To stay ahead, stay flexible and unpredictable. Don't stick to one shape or plan. This makes it hard for your enemies to understand or fight against you, so you can move around easily. Instead of sticking to strict rules, change what you do based on what's happening. T.E. Lawrence did this in World War I by fighting in a sneaky way that confused his enemies. Being shapeless isn't just for war. It also confuses enemies in other situations by not giving them an easy target. Stay calm and hard to read, like James Rothschild did when things were tough. Just like Japan changed to deal with new cultures, being shapeless means you can keep control and make your enemies react to you. If you only stick to one plan, you'll be in trouble when your enemies can change their plans easily. I recommend you watch the next video in our series. Don't hesitate to share this video, subscribe to our channel, and share your thoughts in the comments section. Thanks for watching, and will see you in my next video.